Well, here we go again. We're picking up speed. Adam Von Romer here again. And in this installment of everything you wanted to know about commercial real estate, but were afraid to ask, we're going to tackle the topic of how long does it take to be successful? My quick, easy, short answer is, well, it depends. It depends on how much time you're dedicating to the craft. It depends on how much time, effort, and energy you're expending. And it depends on whether you've started out with a mentor or you're just kind of winging it. So there's a lot that goes into the process, as we started talking about the last couple of sessions, and the accretive nature of the business. I would suggest to you that it will probably take you 6 to 9 months before you make your first paycheck. But if you're doing everything right and you're laying the groundwork for your career, notice I said career in commercial real estate, it should start to pick up from there. Unlike residential real estate, our transactions take longer. They're also a whole lot bigger, generally speaking. But remember, we've gotten rid of the emotion. We talked about that way back in episode 1, I believe, where we said that the transactions are typically numbers based, and or does it meet the requirements of our particular owner user. So how long does it take how long does it take to become successful is almost entirely up to you. How much time are you going to dedicate to your craft? Do you have a mentor? What kind of resources do you have to bring to bear on starting your new adventure, if you will, your new career? And how dedicated are you to it? I will tell you that in my opinion, this is an extraordinarily hard business to do part-time. There's just too many moving parts. In fact, a lot of times I'll actually do work on a Saturday or Sunday just to kind of clear my desk off and get things ready to go for the week. I will tell you that I don't typically show properties on the weekends. I don't typically show properties after hours. And usually commercial real estate is, pretty much done between the hours of 9 to 5. That doesn't mean there's going to be some outliers that pop up that you have to take care of, and that's just the nature of our business. I'd suggest to you that if you are, in fact, being mentored, if you're going through a program, if you've got a class, if you're taking all of the steps that you need to take, you can cash your first paycheck in 6 to 9 months. Some people get luckier and cash a check much sooner. Some people, it takes a little bit longer, but you've got to be prepared for that. The other thing is, if you want to ensure you're going to go out of business, get into the land business, because land takes a long time to get closed. It takes a long time to sell. I'd suggest you stick to something that has some velocity in your marketplace. And that's all part of that conversation we had earlier, where I said you had to know what it takes to own, operate, maintain, manage, and ultimately dispose of a property. You also need to understand volume and velocity. Where are the vast number of your type of property located? And more importantly, how fast are those trading? And you can kind of back into how long it will take you to be successful once you've established that. So can it take a while? Yes. Is it worthwhile? Absolutely. In fact, once you get bit, you'll probably never do anything the rest of your life. I want to thank you for joining me, and I can't wait to speak to you in our next session.